Hello students, welcome to the next class. In this class or in this session, we are going to look on a particular problem that is based on Pascal's triangle. So how to make program to print the Pascal's triangle on the output screen. Firstly, we should know what is a Pascal's triangle. So Pascal's triangle, basically a triangle which starts from 1. The first row starts from 1. Let's say it is a pyramid type pattern. So first element will be 1, and after this it is again 1 and 1. After this element will be 1, this element will be sum of upper two elements, that is 2, and the next element will be again 1. In the next row, what happens is the first element will be 1, second element will be sum of upper two elements, these two elements 1 and 2. So the next element will be 1 plus 2 is 3. Next element will be 2 plus 1, 3. And the next element will be again 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. In the next row, what happens is first element will be again 1. The next element will be 3 plus 1 is 4. 3 plus 3 is 6. 3 plus 1 is again 4. And next again 1. This happens till the user wants to print this triangle. That means you need to take input from the user that enter the number of rows. In the next row, if I take the example, that is 1 again, first element. Next is 4 plus 1 is 5. 6 plus 4 is 10. 6 plus 4 is 10. Next again 4 plus 1 is 5, then 1. So as you can see, this is getting a little shifted towards the right side. So for this we use percentage 4D as a format specifier. So what percentage 4D does is it maintains and format the output screen, the elements on the output screen. You can say it formats the output so that enough spaces will be printed so that the format will remain the same. That is why 4D we are going to have. So for this we are going to have a simple program. There are few lines of codes. So what happens is, let's start from hash include stdio.h, hash include stdlib.h. Next is void main. Inside main function we are having fewer variables. That is, first is int I for iteration of loops, and j again for the iteration of loops, inner for loop, outer for loop based on the condition. Next we are going to have a variable coefficient, COEF, equals to 1. That is the coefficient we are setting equals to 1. Why it is 1? Because the first element of the first row will be 1. That is why we are starting from 1. And next, for the number of rows, we are taking a variable of integer type as rows. So these are the variables we are going to have in this program. If we require any more variables, we will declare it later on. So we'll print the message printf enter the number of rows, that enter the number of rows \n. So user will enter till how many rows he or she wants to print the triangle, the Pascal's triangle. Scanf %d address of rows. %d is the format specifier for integer and address of rows. Next, in the next line, what we are going to have is we are going to have a for loop that will start from I equals to 0. For I equals to 0, it will go up to a point when I is less than rows. When I is less than rows, so it will cover all the rows. At every iteration, I will increase by 1. Inside this loop, we are further having another for loop, that is inner for loop. In that loop, okay. So in this loop, as we have discussed in previous printing patterns session, that you need to print a space also when we are printing something like triangle, when it is right side left side aligned, you need not to print any kind of space. But now it is something like pyramid, so you also need to print some specific spaces also. So for that, let's take, we are taking a variables of space also. Space, let's say another variable, space. So this for loop will be running for space equals to 1. For space equals to 1, it will go up to a point till space is less than equal to rows. Space is less than equal to rows. Okay, so space is less than equal to rows, or less than equal to rows minus 1 or minus I. It is a general question that everybody asks. So why it is less than equal to rows, or less than equal to space is less than equal to rows minus I? So which one is true and which one is correct? So when you are starting space equals to 1, you are initializing space equals to 1. So at that point, you are going to run that loop, that particular loop, till the space is less than equal to rows minus I. Till the rows minus I, because that's why we are having a pyramid type pattern. When we are subtracting I from the rows, that is the point we are having the pyramid pattern. Because in the pyramid you can see, when the number of rows are getting increased, when we are increasing the number of rows, so the space is getting less and less. So that is why it is space is less than equal to rows minus I. At every iteration, space will increase by 1. So space plus plus, space plus plus. Inside this for loop, we are printing a space. So printf a space, printf a space. So this loop is over. Now we have another for loop. We have another for loop for j equals to 0, for j equals to 0 till j is less than equal to I, and j plus plus. Again this loop run to the point the value of I. Inside this loop we are checking if j equals to 0 or I equals to 0. Till j equals to 0 or I equals to 0, then coefficient will be again set to 1. COEF equals to 1. Why it is happening over here? Because when we are at the first, we are having a first element of any row, it will always be 1. That is why we are setting coefficient equals to 1. The first element and the last element will always be 1. So that is why coefficient equal to 1. In the else part of this code, of this loops block, in the else part, what we are having is coefficient equals to coefficient into I minus j plus 1, I minus j plus 1 divided by j. That is a basic formula that we have discussed in the class, that how we are going to have those values of Pascal's triangle. So this is the basic formula for that. And after doing this, we are printing outside the else block, we are printing printf now percentage d and coef, percentage d coef, and this loop is closed over here. Outside this loop, again, as we have discussed in the printing pattern session, that we also need to print a next line statement. So printf \n to come in the next line. After doing this loop is also over, and here the main function is n. So first we'll print using percentage d, and after that we'll use percentage 4d. So let's see what is the difference. Save it and let's run it. So again, open in terminal. So again, gcc file name is ps, I guess file name is ps, yeah, ps.c -o and p. Okay, something is missing in line number 6. Okay, I have used colon instead of semicolon, so it will be a semicolon. Save it and run it again. So these are the basic kind of mistakes. So you should also be careful about this while running a program. So again, run it, clear it. GCC file name is ps.c -o and p /p. Now enter the number of rows. Let's say I'm entering the number of rows as, firstly we are entering as 4. So again, you can see the values are correct. No doubt, the values are correct. First element is 1, second element is 1 1. Now third row we are having 1 2 1, last row we are having 1 3 3 1. Then it is not formatted properly. So for that, for printing it in proper format, we are using percentage 4D, so that enough spaces will be printed onto the output screen to make it in a proper format. Again, so let's open it in files and run it again. So open in terminal. So file name is ps.c-o. Okay, so file name is gcc ps.c-o and p for the executable file /p. Now we can see the difference. We are again entering the number of rows as 4. So now you can see a perfect Pascal's triangle has been printed onto the output screen. First element is 1, second is again 1, again 1. This first element is a 1, second element is 1 plus 1, 2. Last is again 1. This is again 1, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 1 is 3, and last element is 1. Now can we input a larger number of lines, /p, another number of rows? Let's say this time we are entering 9. So again, you can see a perfect Pascal's triangle has been printed because we have used %4D. What it does is it properly formats the output based on the number of digits. It can make it in a perfect formatted way, %4D. And we've also seen the difference while using simply %d. So this is the main difference over here. So this is the basic program to print Pascal's triangle using the user's limit. If you have any kind of doubt, you can ask directly using comment section. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon in the next and subsequent lectures. We are going to have again we are going to have printing patterns. After that, we are going to start functions as per the syllabus. Thank you very much. I hope you had an amazing day.